everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Dr. Angel Storm. Thanks so much for joining me. This is a video that I'm doing as a follow-up video to a previous video that I did talking about what MBTI type is most susceptible to be victims of narcissistic abuse, which, spoiler alert, if you didn't, the INFJ type is the most likely to be taken advantage of by narcissists. And I wanted to do a follow-up to that video because I want to give this personality type some pointers about what you can do to start utilizing your gifts and your personality type to work for you and not against you. So go check out that video if you haven't already. You can check it out right here. And, you know, really take note of what I'm saying in that video. So in this video, what I want to do is I want to kind of give all of you INFJs some idea of how your personality type can work against you if you don't understand it and you don't develop the gifts that come along with that personality. So in sum, an INFJ is what they call a super empath, right? This is somebody who can feel all the feelings in the atmosphere, and this has to do with the people in the atmosphere. So if there's other people, it has to do with whatever was there previously. So you can pick up stuff from the land and from the atmosphere in general. So the actual building or environment that you're in, you can actually feel stuff that used to be there. And if there's stuff going on like electronically, so whatever is going through the airways at the time, you can also pick all of that up. That's a lot of stuff to be coming in all at one time, especially if you don't know how to utilize that gift. And so developing your gift and using that, that's a completely separate video. That is something that I just don't even feel qualified to really mentor people in or educate people in. So find yourself a super empath and get mentored if that's you. But knowing that you have this gift, I think, is the starting point, and recognizing, like, I'm going to pick up everything that's been going on in that atmosphere, that is going on now, that has been going on in the past, and you know, I need to be aware of that not all of the thoughts that I'm getting are mine, not all of the feelings that I'm getting are mine. That is important to have in your mind. So INFJs, the reason that this can work against you, as I kind of talked about in my previous video, is that you have these double caves. So you got a cave inside of a cave, and you just retreat into this cave, and because you're an internal processor, the only voice that you get is the ones that are in your head. You would rather listen to all of those voices, even if they're toxic thoughts, even if it's not even true thoughts, than to be vulnerable and share how you're feeling with somebody else. And this is something that I've really noticed for me as a life coach with my clients. I think I mentioned in my other video, I make my clients take the MBTI test because I want to know what your personality is when I'm trying to work with you, so that I'm providing the best services as possible that I can. One thing I noticed with my INFJ clients, who are the majority of my clients, is that they come out of their cave for two reasons, really two reasons. One, they want connection. So this is either they are desiring to get healing, they're desiring to make a connection, like a friendship, a relationship with another person. They're coming out for advice or for guidance, or they're coming out to defend their caves. And if they're out there for the second reason, then they can be quite aggressive in defending their cave. And now if you're an INFJ and you're thinking, I never do that, I don't lash out at people, go ahead and keep watching this video, because I think that you're going to find you probably do all of the things that I'm about to say. So one, you can really accuse people of not honoring you, of disrespecting you, of not listening to your opinion, of not treating you with value. And even if those things are true, the way you say it is going to be very rude and very aggressive, because you feel like your very identity, the core of who you are, is being attacked by somebody if they try to even correct something that you're doing. I've had this happen to me so many times with my clients. When I try to correct them about something, they'll come back to me and try to put the blame onto me, even though it's a black and white issue. It's a contractual issue. We've all agreed to it, right? That's why we have contracts. It doesn't matter with an INFJ. That J is very strong in them, that judgment, that that need for a structure. And if it doesn't add up, and especially if they are not used to developing their gift as a super empath, then they are going to be very aggressive in defending those two caves that they go into, because that's their core identity. And so one thing that I've noticed with an INFJ is it works better if you give an example about something that could be happening, rather than just tell them like, hey, you're doing this. They're going to take that as a real attack on who they are personally. But if you say like, hey, your personality type is prone to interpreting things in this manner, well, then that's okay, because it could be anybody. It could be them, it could not be them, it could be other people like them, it could just be some fictitious person even. So you have to find ways to communicate with an INFJ that doesn't attack those two caves until they're mature enough, until they are strong enough in their identity to recognize that it's okay if they have flaws. They're just not going to accept the fact that they are, most of them will not readily accept that, okay, this is an issue that I have for me. So if you're trying to communicate with an INFJ, go ahead and try doing a roundabout technique. And while that might seem not right? Like, I like direct communication. I like to just like, hey, this is the issue. Let's fix the issue and let's move on. Let's resolve it. An INFJ is not going to work like that. They're going to keep bringing up the same topic that you discussed already many, many times until it's addressed in the manner that they want it to be closed, which is another reason, by the way, why INFJs have so much trouble moving on from a narcissist, because they never get that closure that they feel they need. So when I'm talking about something as simple as, you know, agreeing upon a time to show up for your session with me, think about now, and the way that you even just, you know, describe that to them can be taken as offensive. Now imagine an INFJ having a conversation with a narcissist. They're never going to have that closure that they're looking for. And an INFJ is going to take that much harder. So if they never get that apology, if they don't get the apology in the exact way that they think that they should have it, in a way that is speaking their language, so to speak, it's never going to get resolved, which again is why it's so important for INFJs to be able to find that closure within themselves. And that's also how they start developing their gifting, and how they take back their power and control. They start developing their identity. The validation, the apologies, the closure, all of that kind of stuff that you're looking for doesn't come from outside of you. And most of the time in life, it's not going to come from outside of you. Even if somebody wants to be able to do that for you, the fact that they have to work to communicate that to you in a way that you can receive it can be challenging for most people. And you need to accept that you need to be the one to give yourself that closure, that apology, that acceptance, whatever it is that you're looking for. That needs to come from inside of you. So that's something that you're going to have to grow in and develop as an INFJ. So as I was saying, an INFJ really comes out of their caves for two reasons. One, they want a relationship, they want to connect, or they're coming out to like defend their territory, right? If they're out for the first reason, they want to connect, again, this is very specific to them. They need to feel like you are connecting with them in their way, which again, it requires more work than the other personality types, because they have a very specific way of how to be reached, you know, and this can be challenging for anybody, let alone somebody who maybe is the child of an INFJ, the spouse of an INFJ, the best friend of an INFJ. So somebody who's really like wants to be there for this person, but just can't figure out like quite how to reach them, how to love them, how to support them and help them. It's because they speak a very specific language, and not a lot of people will take the time to really learn how to communicate in a way that they will be accepted. INFJs, that is not permission to just keep doing what you're doing. It's not healthy. You know, you're hurting your own self. You need to learn how other people communicate as well. You need to accept that other people will show love and acceptance and friendship in different ways than what you're used to. And sometimes you guys are wrong, and you need to be okay with just saying, all right, I'm wrong. Just because they're not using the exact words you want to hear, just because it's not coming across in the exact way that you want it to come across, doesn't mean that the intention of the message is not correct. And that's a lot of times how INFJs will interpret it. They feel that because you didn't use the right words, because it wasn't done in the right timing, because it wasn't on the INFJ's timetable and all of that exact, specific, perfect kind of stuff, they'll think that, you know, it wasn't genuine. And that's just not true. This has to go with developing your gifting as well, because your feelings can lie to you. And if you never develop your gifting and you don't know how to tell when your emotions are speaking condemnation to you or speaking conviction to you, if you don't know the difference of that, and you can't tell, are those my feelings or those the other person's feelings, and you can't delineate whose feelings you're picking up in the atmosphere, you're just taking out all of your anger on those people who are around you. So you really need to spend time and develop your gifting. You really need to find out, is this conviction or is this condemnation? Is this my feeling or is this somebody else's feeling? Is this my thought or somebody else's thought? Why do I have this thought? Why do I have this feeling? Getting to the roots of those kinds of issues so that your true north is back on track, because you have a very powerful gift, right? I think I mentioned in the last video, if I didn't, INFJs are meant to be like the planet healers. They're supposed to see and feel, okay, this is really missing from the world. This is what I need to bring into the world because this is what's missing. But oftentimes what happens is, especially these days, in this time, there's so many INFJs who are just going back into their cave like, oh, it's too overwhelming, and they just can't deal with it because they never developed their gifting. They develop super self-destructive habits. They lose friendships that they were very close to, people they were very close to. Interests that they had, they'll just shut down. They'll just go into their double cave and stay in there and think all of their unhealthy thoughts and do toxic ruminations. So it's really important that INFJs specifically start developing their gift, and that always starts with you. It's also easy for INFJs to just blame all of the other people. It takes a lot for an INFJ to say like, okay, I'm the issue. I have a problem. I don't have resolution in a specific area, maybe from my childhood, or actually I am seeing now that I ignored a whole bunch of red flags because when I first got together with the narcissist, or whatever the situation may be for you. If you're an INFJ, you really need to take time to look at your own habits and take ownership of them, because you are contributing to the problem. You don't just find yourselves in these problems. You are attracting those things to yourself. And if you don't understand how to develop your gift and you never learn how to grow it, you're going to continue to attract predators essentially to you. And then you're going to think everybody's a predator, and you end up hurting the people who are trying to help you. So please, INFJs, start taking a look at some of this stuff. I understand that you might feel like, oh, I don't even want to admit that that's me. But if that's you, it's okay. That's the first step to change. That's the first step that you need to check off, if you will, in order to start progressing and moving forward. You don't have to spend the rest of your life living out a repeat of however many years you've been living life the way that you have been, right? If you're 40, if you're 50, if you're 60, you don't have to spend the next 60 years of your life living out a repeat of the first 60. You can change right now. You know, you can develop your gifting right now. So I hope that this video has helped you, especially to my INFJs out there, that this has given you a greater insight into some of your own behavior and why you are prone to react and respond to different situations in the way that you do. Start thinking critically about these things. Find yourself a mentor who can help you develop your gifts so that they are used appropriately, so that they don't hurt the people you love, that they aren't self-destructive and self-sabotaging in every single way, and that you can become the healer, the planet healer that we need you to be. So if you guys haven't already, please subscribe to my channel below and hit the bell so that you're notified whenever I upload a new video to this channel.